And honestly, Lorenzo Musetti and Stan Wawrinka have been the most impressive out of all of the one-handers so far.
Stayed up last night to see Stan the Man, what could have been his last Aussie Open bout, and quite the contrary. He out grits Jay, I think
Yeah,
is how you say
G,
it, the
Yeah,
French kid.
Jay.
He was playing phenomenally, coming off of straight set steamroll over Yuri Lehechka, who I thought could have made, been into
Yeah.
like the round of 16 here. Lehechka was looking so good, loves hard courts, but no. And Wawrinka just summons some insane grit, moving better than I've seen him move in a really long time. Actually, just into it, giving it his all. So inspiring. So many one-hander just winners down the line.
Oh, the highlights were glorious. Watching that match was glorious. I mean, Steph, Stan, and Chapo were all playing at the same time, and I had it on like my phone and the TV, watching all of them. And I was like, "This is just like one-hander heaven." And I mean, Stan, like you said, was super impressive, and he's the 40-year-old, and he's out winning a physical battle in a war of attrition against a young kid. That's actually insane, the level of dedication he's
Yeah.
still put to his body to be able to sustain that kind of, wear and tear in the long matches. But I mean, if I'm Stan, I'm like, am I playing so well? I'm coming back next year. Or you just like end on a high note here. This is just an absolutely legendary run we're seeing from Wawrinka, and I'm so like happy. And he's getting the recognition he deserves because he was one of those guys that gets overlooked by the big three, and even over Murray. He was always kind of lumped in a little bit. I mean, he's a 3-time Grand Slam champion, but him getting those 3 Grand Slams with all 3 finals wins coming over members of the big three, like Stan is an absolute legend, and he has proved it at this Australian Open.
Yeah, he was a late bloomer himself, in the grand scheme of things. He grew up, him and Fed were pretty much peers, but Fed's like 5 years older. Yeah, so Wawrinka, until, he wasn't really like 27 or 28 when he like really turned it up a notch and started getting those Grand Slam results and, getting that top 5 in the world status. It took him a while. He had to get that tattoo. I forget what it says about like failing, but regardless,
No. Yeah,
similar to Bublik, he was a late bloomer, and look, and he's still doing it like 12 years after.
but I mean, Stan, yeah, it was around the 2015, around that time when he was winning his slams, and he had a piece, his iconic plaid shorts when he won Roland Garros over Djokovic. He had that same pattern on his shirt here at the Australian Open, so that was such a cool homage to that moment back in his career when he did win that slam. But I mean, there's so much you could say about Stan. He's such a fighter. He doesn't give up. The backhand and just his just willingness or unwillingness to die. And you don't have to be putting your body under this kind of stress at his age. And he just loves the game so much. And, the game has given him a lot. He's given us so much back and so many moments and so much inspiration, to be honest. Like, I've modeled my backhand after Stan. Like, Fed made me fall in love with tennis. Watching Federer was like very mesmerizing and was like, whoa, I want to play like that. But I modeled my backhand after Stan because I always thought his, as a pure technical stroke, his backhand was just a little bit more fluid behind it than Roger and could like hit it more cleanly and get more behind it. And that's why he was able to trouble Djokovic, later on in his career more than Roger, before Federer started figuring out how to slice and relying more on that. But Stan, he's left an impression on the game and he's never going to be forgotten. And I'm going to go back and watch a lot of his matches, when he finally does call it, at the end of this year, because, I just love watching him play and always going to remember Stan Wawrinka playing tennis. So thank you, Stan. That's all I got to say.
One of the GOATs, without a doubt. No, everyone's happy to see that he's just still out there fighting, because everyone recognizes, most people in that situation that they haven't had like serious Grand Slam results, would have probably already retired, but he's just still been grinding and was denied entry into a couple of Grand Slams last year. Almost didn't get a wild card to this AO, but did, and thank God he did, because now
Yeah.
he just put like
Imagine he
that.
didn't
That
and
was
we were robbed of
probably
this.
one of the biggest matches of the tournament.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
him beating Jay in that match was absolutely bonkers. Everyone globally is thankful that they were able to see that. So
Yeah,
Stan
and
the
if I
man, still at it. Can't wait to see him all year. Let's go.
yeah. I mean, if I'm other players on tour, I look at Stan being like, this is like he was an absolute gamer. He showed up with his best tennis in the biggest matches. When his back was against a wall, that's when he brought it. And in an era where it felt like helpless to go against Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer, like you're playing your best tennis in tournaments and you're making deep runs, getting to a semifinals. It's like, congrats, you get to lose to Roger, and or you get to lose to Novak or Rafa in
Hmm.
the finals. It's like you did your best. You're just not one of them. Stan was one of those guys that could take out those guys, and Zverev's, all the guys on tour should be looking at Stan as a model of being like,
Hmm.
hey, believe in yourself, because on any given day anybody can win a match, and that's why we love tennis, because we got a 40-year-old in the third round of the Australian Open. This anything can happen. So it's great to see though.